What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to another gun guide. This is a series where I go into great detail with all the stats of every one of the weapons in CoD World War II. In today's episode, we're going to be covering the M30 Luftwaffe Drilling shotgun. And first up, as always, let's have a look at some of the in real life stats. So the M30 Luftwaffe Drilling is actually a shotgun rifle hybrid. So it's essentially a break action double barrel shotgun, but it also has a third barrel underneath that is for a rifle cartridge. For the shotgun barrels, it's a 12 gauge, and for the rifle round, it's a 9.3x74R, and this packs quite a big punch in real life. As for CoD World War II, we've got an interesting damage profile for all the shotguns in this game. How it works is you deal a base amount of damage if you hit an enemy, and then you deal a certain amount of damage per pellet on top of that base damage. With the Luftwaffe Drilling, we get a base damage profile of 70, 30, 20, and then each pellet will deal 10 damage on top of that base damage. It's worth noting that the Luftwaffe Drilling is different than all of the other shotguns when it comes to this. For all the other shotguns, they tend to have a higher base damage, but a lower damage per pellet at only 2 damage per pellet for all the other shotguns. So the Luftwaffe Drilling is really unique with that 10 damage per pellet, and it essentially means this shotgun is all about hitting as many pellets as possible, whereas with the other shotguns, each individual pellet didn't really make a huge difference. If we look at our maximum damage per shot, assuming every single one of our 8 pellets hits, the damage profile is 150, 110, 100. And what this means is if you're hitting all 8 pellets and you're within a range where you can hit your enemy, it will always be a kill with the Luftwaffe Drilling. Our rate of fire is 150 rounds per minute, and with rapid fire we give it a small increase up to 159 rounds per minute. It's worth noting that this rate of fire only applies to 2 shots, so your 2 shotgun shots, that's it. It has nothing at all to do with your reload time, and therefore it's relatively insignificant. Moving on to our ranges, keeping in mind this is with the standard shells, not the rifle bullet. We'll go over the rifle bullet in a second here. Our first damage range requires us to hit only 3 pellets to get a kill, and this is approximately 5 meters. Then out to 11.25 meters, it takes 7 out of 8 pellets to get a kill on an enemy, so there's a little bit of leeway there. You can miss one single pellet and still get a one-shot kill. But beyond that, from 11.25 out to 18.75 meters, if you hit every single one of your pellets, it will be a one-shot kill. If you miss even just one pellet though, it's going to be a hit marker. Beyond that range, this shotgun deals absolutely no damage unless you're using the rifle bullet. Now, speaking of the rifle bullet, we're going to have a look at a different map here because we won't be able to truly appreciate the range of the rifle bullet on that first range chart we had a look at. As you can see here, from 0 to 30 meters, the rifle bullet will be a one-shot kill to the upper torso, neck, head, or anywhere in the arms or the hands. This range is almost double the hit potential of the standard shotgun shells with the Luftwaffe Drilling. Beyond 30 meters, we lose the one-shot kill potential to the lower arms as well as the hands, but you'll still be able to get a one-shot kill to the upper torso, neck, head, as well as upper arms. Now, beyond 30 meters, there are technically 2 different damage ranges. You have the exact same one-hit kill potential. I just wanted to point out that beyond 50 meters, you will be dealing less damage to your enemy if you don't get that one-shot kill. Moving on to Hipfire, the M30 Luftwaffe Drilling has the tightest Hipfire spread in the shotgun category, tied with the toggle action. And as you can see when we Hipfire, our 8 pellets are spread out a decent amount, but when we aim down sight, they're tightened very significantly. It's practically all in the same hole, but it's not 100% in the same hole. And this is important because when you start stretching those ranges when you're aiming down sight, if you're not nicely centered on your enemy, it's still very possible to get hit markers. If you're kind of on the edge of your target, it's pretty easy to miss 1 or 2 pellets, even when you're aimed down sight and tightening up that spread significantly. So make sure you're nice and square on your target, especially at those longer ranges when you're aiming down sight with this shotgun. Getting into our capacity, this one's pretty straightforward. We have 2 shells available to us with 10 in reserve. And if we put the rifle bullet attachment on, this will give us 1 rifle bullet in the chamber and 5 in reserve. As for our reload time, it's quite slow. We actually have 2 different reload times here. The first one is if you fire 1 shot and you just want to top it up, you just want to replace that 1 shell. This is going to take you 2.49 seconds, which is quite slow already. But if we fire both of our shots and we need to reload both of them, it's going to take 3.02 seconds. And I just wanted to point out here as well, if you fire both of your shots, you have to reload both shells from empty. You don't have the option of just loading 1 shell and then canceling that reload and going around with 1 shell in your gun. As for handling and mobility, it's all standard for shotguns here. We get an aim down sight as well as a sprint out time of 250 milliseconds. And our movement speed is 100% with an aim down sight strafe speed of 80%. And this is actually very helpful with this shotgun because you definitely want to be aiming down sight with it. And an 80% aim down sight strafe speed is quite good in this game. Moving on to my recommended attachments for the Luftwaffe Drilling, since we're going to be aiming down sight in almost every one of our gunfights because we want that tighter ADS spread, Quick Draw and Reflex Sight are actually my two favorite attachments to run on this. So if I'm just running two attachments, those are going to be it. Steady aim, I feel, isn't really worth it because you're rarely going to be hip firing. You should only ever be hip firing this gun if you're within 5 meters, within that 3 pellet kill range. Otherwise, you're just simply not going to be getting consistent one-shot kills, unless you're playing hardcore modes, of course. But in that case, you wouldn't use steady aim anyways because you only have to hit 1 pellet in hardcore modes, and therefore you actually want the widest spread possible. So I would never recommend running steady aim with the Luftwaffe Drilling. Advanced rifling is another thing that I actually don't recommend, at least in core game modes. With shotguns, advanced rifling increases your maximum hit potential by 13%, so you actually increase the range that you can hit somebody, but at the same time, it reduces your base damage within that range, which means all that happens with this is you're actually just going to get more hit markers, because now that maximum damage range, it's going to take more than 8 pellets to get a kill, and that means more than 1 shot to get a kill. So advanced rifling is actually a terrible choice for the Luftwaffe Drilling. Aside from, once again, in hardcore modes, this is the exception, because even with the base damage reduction, it's always going to be a one-hit kill. The only other attachment I'd consider running is Rifle Bullet, but that's a really niche attachment. That's more for like a messing around sort of class. It's a lot of fun to pick somebody off across the map with a shotgun just to see if you can get a reaction out of them or something. But if I'm just using my normal Luftwaffe class, I probably won't have Rifle Bullet on it. Moving on to a couple example classes here. First up is my sort of go-to Luftwaffe Drilling class. This is with the Airborne Division, so I can get around the map a lot more effectively and get those good opening rush routes. We've got Quick Draw as well as a Reflex Sight, because we're going to be aiming down sight all the time, and I feel like Reflex Sight just helps to make sure that you're nicely centered on your target, so even at those longer ranges, as far as shotguns go at least, you're going to get those more consistent one-hit kills. Our basic training is Hustle. I feel like this is practically a must-have with both of the break action shotguns because your reload times are extremely slow and you only get 2 shots. So definitely Hustle. Then our secondary is a 9mm SAP with extended mags, and our tactical is a concussion grenade. I really like running stun grenades with shotguns rather than lethals because it often allows me to close the gap or get onto a flank or something along those lines, which can lead to a lot more kills in the future rather than something like a sticky grenade, which is maybe 1 kill and that's it. As for the second class, this is the one I would use with Rifle Bullet. We're still using Quick Draw and Reflex Sight, but we're also using the Infantry Division, which gives us that extra attachment, which we will use on Rifle Bullet. And also we get the added benefit of being able to strafe even faster while aiming down sight, which can be very helpful with the Luftwaffe Drilling. It allows you to dodge those shots a little bit more effectively as you line up your shot perfectly. Once again, we're going to be using Hustle on this. Like I said, I feel it's a must-have with this shotgun. Our secondary is going to be a 9mm SAP with extended mags, and just to mix it up a little bit, I used a sticky grenade for this particular class. And with that, we're going to wrap up today's gun guide on the Luftwaffe Drilling. I'd like to know in the comment section below, what do you guys think of the Luftwaffe Drilling, especially after the update that we got a couple weeks ago now that made it a lot more consistent with its one-shot kills out to a very good range. Personally, I absolutely love the new version of this gun that's a lot more consistent now. It kind of reminds me of the Argus from Black Ops 3, but unfortunately it has that huge downside of only having 2 shots between each decently long reload. But even with those downsides, I feel like this playstyle is really enjoyable. It's out of the ordinary. There's no other gun in the game that plays like this, and I like the fact that it really rewards precision as well as navigating the map properly. If you guys have missed any of the previous episodes of Gun Guides, I've covered almost all of the guns that are in the game so far. I will leave a link to the playlist down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.
Engaging enemy recon aircraft.